Alex, I spent 3 hours yesterday digging a splinter out of my palm with a pair of dull tweezers and a prayer, and it really puts things into perspective. We're out here talking about high-tech tool heads and global marketing giants, but at the end of the day, a man's still susceptible to a stray shard of white oak.
Well, maybe if you spent less time communing with the wood and more time wearing your work gloves, your hands wouldn't look like a topographical map of the Ozarks. But welcome back to the Tiger Den, everyone. It's Thursday, and we've got a lot to unpack. From printers that change their own diapers to why the tech giants are suddenly obsessed with guys in hard hats.
It's a brave new world. I remember when multicolor meant I accidentally knocked a can of blue stain into my bucket of white paint. But this AxiLoop MC8, Alex, this thing has 8 tool heads. 8. That's like having a dedicated pit crew for your plastic spaghetti.
It's the Swiss Army knife of printing, apparently. But explain the why to me. I've seen those single nozzle printers that poop out a little pile of wasted plastic every time they change colors. Is this just about saving material, or is there more to the hustle?
It's the waste that kills you. With a single nozzle, you're basically purging the old color to make room for the new one. It's like trying to wash a paintbrush every 30 seconds while you're painting a mural. The MC8 just swaps the brush. You want TPU for a flexible hinge but rigid PLA for the frame? It just clicks one out and clicks the other in. No purging, no giant mountains of wasted filament in the corner of your shop that look like plastic bird nests.
Speaking of plastic art, have you seen what Bamboo Lab is doing with these Make My Lithophane tools? They're using CMYK filaments. It's basically inkjet printing, but 3D.
It's eerie how good they look. You take a flat photo, the software crunches the numbers, and you print these thin layers that look like nothing until you hold them up to a window. Then, boom, it's your grandmother's portrait in full color. I tried making one of my dog, and honestly, the detail was so sharp, I felt like the print was going to bark at me for a treat.
Let's hope it doesn't start shedding on your workbench. But let's shift gears from the bench to the big leagues. There's some serious movement in the trades right now. Meta, the Facebook folks, are partnering up with the building trades unions.
It makes sense, even if it feels like two different planets colliding. You can't build a metaverse or run a fancy AI without a massive building filled with servers that generate enough heat to roast a hog. And you can't build those buildings with a keyboard. You need folks who can bend conduit like it's art and balance a climate control system that's more complex than a space shuttle.
And McCarthy is dropping $115 million on a campus in Arizona for America's Workforce Academy. That's a lot of scratch just to teach people how to swing a hammer.
Oh, it's way beyond hammers, Alex. We're talking specialized infrastructure. If you're an electrician or an HVAC tech right now, and you aren't looking at data center certifications, you're leaving meat on the bone. These facilities require redundancy levels that would make a normal contractor's head spin. If the power blinks for a millisecond, billions of dollars could vanish. They pay a premium for the kind of person who doesn't get rattled when the stakes are that high.
It's a good reminder that tech isn't just coding, it's the physical bones of the world. But if you're not building data centers and you're trying to sell your own handmade goods, you're looking at a different kind of architecture, the social kind. I was looking at these 2026 marketing projections you pulled.
The maker mogul side of things, it's getting harder to just post a photo of a bowl you turned and expect the world to beat a path to your door. The heavy hitters like Russell Brunson or Eric Seo, they aren't selling products as much as they're selling backstage passes. People want to see the grease under your fingernails. They want the Q&A where you admit you ruined the first 3 prototypes.
So you're saying I should film you every time you drop your phone into the sawdust?
Exactly. People crave that in the trenches reality. Look at Joanna Gaines or Jamie Oliver. They sell a lifestyle. When you buy a table from a maker, you aren't just buying 4 legs and a top. You're buying the story of the guy who spent 20 hours obsessing over the grain match.
There's a note in here about niche education too. People like Daniela Queiroz. It seems like the successful makers aren't just making things. They're teaching people how they did it, but in bite-sized chunks.
That's the secret sauce. Don't give them the whole encyclopedia. Just give them the one trick to stop their drill bit from wandering. If you can simplify a headache for someone, they'll follow you to the moon. My advice? Pick one big influencer you actually admire. Don't just scroll past their stuff. Look at the first 3 seconds of their video. How did they grab you? Was it the sound of a saw? Was it a joke? That's the hook, and if you don't have one, you're just whispering in a hurricane.
Whispering in a hurricane. That's actually pretty poetic, Tiger. Did you read that on a bumper sticker?
I might have muttered it to myself while trying to fix a wobbly chair leg at 2 a.m. But let's talk about the sanctuary, the workshop. We're seeing some big DIY upgrades trending.
You mean besides your cluttercore aesthetic?
Hey, I know exactly which pile of shavings my 5/8-inch chisel is buried under. But seriously, the ultimate miter station is the move this year. It's not just a bench, it's an ecosystem. If you've got integrated stop blocks, you aren't pulling out a tape measure for every single cut. You set it once, and you can cut 20 identical pieces in the time it used to take to do 3. It's the difference between working and actually producing.
And what's this about indoor climbing walls? That feels like a leap from woodworking.
It's a framing masterclass. You're learning about structural loads, T-nut installation, and how to build something that won't collapse when a 200-pound human decides to play Spider-Man. Plus, it's a great way to use up those odd pieces of 3/4-inch plywood you've been hoarding in the rafters.
You always say, wait, I won't say you always say. You've mentioned that precision tools are the real hour savers, though.
They are. I used to pride myself on eyeballing things, which is just a fancy way of saying I spent a lot of time sanding down my mistakes. But a digital T-bevel or a self-centering dowel jig, that's not cheating. That's just making sure the door actually closes the first time you hang it. There's a certain kind of soul-crushing fatigue that comes from having to redo a project because you were off by a 16th of an inch. These tools are like an insurance policy for your sanity.
So, if we're looking at the weekend ahead, we've got high-tech printing, trade career pivots, marketing like a mogul, and workshop upgrades. It's a lot for a Saturday morning.
It is. But you don't have to do it all at once. That's the beauty of the craft. You just pick one thread and start pulling. Maybe this weekend, you just look at your miter saw and realize it needs a better home. Or maybe you finally look into that electrical certification because you're tired of residential wiring and want to see what the big dogs are doing in the data centers.
Just don't forget to wear the gloves. I don't want to hear about the tweezers again.
Duly noted. But listen, the takeaway for today isn't about the specific tool or the specific career path. It's about the fact that the gap between making and earning is shrinking. The tech world needs the trades, and the makers are becoming the new media moguls. If you've got the skills to build something with your hands, you're sitting on a gold mine. You just have to be willing to do the digging.
Well said. That's a wrap on the TigerDen Daily. Get out there, build something that lasts, and tell your story while you're doing it.
And for heaven's sake, keep your fingers clear of the blade. We'll see you tomorrow.